Fantastic new Friday, common people. You are tuning in a channel called Common Guy Reviews, and slowly crawling towards you is your lovely host Pepsi. I won't beat around the bush this time. Memoirs of Snail is a 2024 Australian adult stop-motion animated tragic comedy film written, produced and directed by Adam Elliott. Movie had its world premiere at the 2024 Annecy International Animation Film Festival on June 10th and was released in Australia by Madman Entertainment in 17th of October. Film was nominated for the Best Animated Feature at the 97th Academy Awards, coming second R-rated animated film after Anomalisa, another stop-motion film. So, we are talking about a great quality work. In this film we're a listening narrator, a woman named Grace Puddle, who is seen on the bedside of an old lady who is dying of an old age. She then sits on the bench of a garden with various signs and also some snails and an urn where presumably the old lady's ashes are. She then proceeds to tell us about her life story, starting from her childhood, ending up in the very same garden we started. Grace had a rough childhood. Her mother died at the birth. Her dad got into an accident and was paralyzed, ending up in a wheelchair. She and her brother Gilbert tried to survive in the world best they could. Grace was always fascinated by snails, which she adored, and even had a hat that resembled a shell of a snail with some eyes, woven by her dad. Her brother, on the other hand, was into magic and fire, having a bit pyromaniac vibes in him. They shared a common hobby, and it was reading. After their father died in his sleep, they were sent off to separate families, as nobody wanted two oddball twins, starting another story about how they could survive on their own after being so close together all their life. Story was full of sadness, but also joy, imitating somewhat real life in its roughness with some silver lining. We meet characters like Pinky, an old lady who has been through a lot, and she becomes friends with Grace, teaching her about life, being somewhat real foster parent for her, as her official foster parents are nice on their own right, but absent on their oddball hobbies like being swingers. Gilbert, on the other hand, was fostered by a religious family who lived without luxury of modern lives, worshipping Jesus and apples for some reason, being more of an cult than just some religious family. The animation was beautiful, it was colorful and vibrant with plenty of detail. Like homes we see are filled with pictures of different kind, and they had something going on in them that you wanted to look at. Also, Grace in her foster home was feeling lost and missed Gilbert, so she started collecting more snail stuff, like a lot of it. Herself were full of those things, and she at one point admitted that she was hoarding them to fill a void. The thing I mostly want to talk about is Grace's and Gilbert's father Percy. Percy was a former juggler in Paris that fell in love with Annie, Grace's and Gilbert's mother. After the accident, Percy was sentenced to spend his life as a paraplegic and fell into depression, especially when her wife died. He also was an alcoholic, and here I want to mention that the way they portrayed his alcoholism wasn't the usual kind. When we usually see alcoholics, we see them abusive, obsessive, violent, foul-mouthed, sad people, who cause more harm than good. But here it was different. Percy was a loving father, a good role model who encouraged his children to experiment and experience their own unique traits, like Gilbert's wish to be an entertainer like his father was, and Grace wanted to take after a job her father once had as a stop-motion animator. Percy even let Grace to use his camera for this purpose. He seemed happy and content, but we knew that he drank a lot of whiskey and slept in his chair, snoring. The alcoholism in him wasn't his stereotypical thing that we are used to see. He wasn't cruel nor violent, he was just really sad. But still tried his very best to be a good father. His addiction was not something that defined his character. It was just part of him. I guess that one thing made the biggest impression to me in this film. Aside from the beautiful stop-motion animation, this movie shines with its characters and their stories. They are vastly different and interesting even if they reside in the same world. Stories of our main group are about loneliness. Grace and Gilbert's loneliness after their parents died and they are sent into a world where they don't fit or belong. Father Percy's loneliness when he is no longer able to do his job as a juggler, and his wife dying, and his ways of coping with that loneliness. Pinky seems to be the exception of this rule, as she seems not lonely but the opposite. In her story we see quickly that she has dealt with loss, a lot of it, but she managed with it. even starting her own movement where she just seeks elderly people who are alone in the home or at the hospital and just goes there, holds their hand, and is just being present with them. The words Pinky left us summarizes somewhat accurately the world of this movie that is not linked to a loss or loneliness. Life can only be understood backwards, but we have to live it forwards. But this was my review about Memoir of a Snail, a truly touching piece that had many good characters and many good stories. Did I get you interested? If I did, press like, subscribe, because you just listened to Common Guy Reviews, and speaking to you was your lovely host Pepsi. And more to come next time. So until then, goodbye.